Hey there, nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of Cheap Shots. This series is dedicated to showing you how to save money on the miniatures wargaming hobby, and on today's episode, we'll be showing you how to use Kroot Farstalker Kinband, which is a kill team from Games Workshop's Kill Team, and how to use this particular box set for multiple gaming systems. Now, the purpose of this episode is that in case if you're a casual wargamer and you wanted to get into miniatures wargaming, a lot of questions that a lot of players have is what is possibly the cheapest box set or product that I could use in order to participate in the most amount of games. Because let's face it, if you're a miniatures wargamer and if you can use a particular set of miniatures for multiple gaming systems, that's pretty much the ultimate cost-saving benefit. Being able to use one set of miniatures for different gaming systems is like the ideal thing that you want to be able to do. So on this episode of Cheap Shots, we'll be talking about how to specifically use these guys and what they're all about. Now, the cool thing about these miniatures is not only are we going to talk about how you could use the Kroot Farstalker Kinband for different gaming systems, we're specifically going to talk about how you could use them for Necromunda. And the reason why I'm so excited about this is because a channel on YouTube called Crimson Oracle. Crimson Oracle has a channel that's dedicated to all things Necromunda. I highly suggest you check it out. It's an amazing channel. They have excellent battle reports and really cool hobby aspects about Necromunda in terms of different gangs and paint jobs and terrain building, as well as just awesome battle reports with amazing production value. But Crimson Oracle also runs a podcast called the Dome Runners Podcast. It might be a podcast that many of you underhivers out there might be familiar with. It's another excellent podcast, all things Necromunda. Well, anyways, Crimson Oracle has actually written up a series of rules, unofficial rules, how to use Kroot Farstalker Kinbands in games and campaigns of Necromunda. So we'll be talking about those rules specifically today as well. So go ahead and get you guys ready. Go and grab some paintbrushes if you need to, if you want to paint along while we're talking about this. And let's talk about exactly how you can use Kroot Farstalker Kinbands in your games of Necromunda. Alright, so first of all, let's talk about the game systems. What game systems could you use Kroot Farstalker Kinband for your games of miniatures wargaming? Well, first of all, obviously the Kroot Farstalker Kinband was originally made for Games Workshop's Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. It actually came in one of their starting box sets called the Shadow Vaults, and basically the idea is supposed to be that these guys were out exploring the depths of a wrecked Space Hulk and looking for different things to bring to salvage technology as well as genetic material in order to bring back to their tribe back on their homeworld. So obviously you could be able to use this in Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. At the same time, you'll also be able to use this in games of Warhammer 40,000. Now granted, you might not be able to play the larger games and larger battles, but with the new boarding action rules that have came out now for Arcs of Omen for the expansion for Warhammer 40,000, you can do boarding actions, which basically allows you to use much smaller skirmish level of combat taking place on board ships. So you could actually use this Kroot Farstalker Kinband and actually use that. Now, in case you don't want to play some Games Workshop games, there's also a lot of other games you could also use miniatures for as well. One Page Rules is another wonderful game system that's also available free to download for the pared down version of their rules anyways. You could use it for Grimdark Future or for Grimdark Future Firefight. Grimdark Future and Grimdark Future Firefight are futuristic war games that have a large scale type of gaming like for Grimdark Future, or on a skirmish level with their Grimdark Future Firefight. You could use it for those products as well. At the same time, you could also use these same miniatures for another game that I highly recommend called Space Station Zero by Snarling Badger Studios. Snarling Badger Studios is an independent game company that is actually run by Adam Loper as well as Vince Venturilla, both of them of Tabletop Minions as well as Warhammer Weekly fame, and they actually made their own gaming system, their own gaming studio called Snarling Badgers. And Space Station Zero is either a solo play or a cooperative play campaign where you actually use a crew of a spaceship to explore the wreckages of a abandoned alien space station. And because it's a miniature agnostic game, you could definitely use these miniatures in order to fill the role of a crew that goes exploring inside the depths of Space Station Zero. So right off the bat, that's 5 different gaming systems that you could actually use these miniatures for. Now the 6th one that I would highly recommend you use these guys for are for games of Necromunda. And the reason why is because Necromunda is in the Everhive, it's also on the Ash Waste as well. We have humans and aliens and everything in between fighting in gang warfare out in the Ash Waste and also in the Underhive of Hive Primus. So because of with that, you could definitely use these guys to fill a variety of roles. Now, obviously, because these guys are aliens, you might want to use some different rules for these guys. Some common gangs you can use for these guys are definitely Venators. Venators are bounty hunters originally, and it kind of fits within the narrative what Kroot actually do. Kroot usually hire themselves out as mercenaries, and so you could probably see a crew of Kroot actually doing that, becoming bounty hunters and earning trophies for themselves. At the same time, they also consume the flesh of their victims, and they absorb the genetic material into their own, so that way they can actually do self-directed and planned genetic mutations for themselves using alien genetic materials, so that way they can actually force their own evolution, actually. So it's actually kind of a cool little game mechanic that the Kroot Farstalker Kinband actually have. Now, we're going to focus specifically on using these miniatures for Necromunda because, like I said earlier, Crimson Oracle, who runs a channel on YouTube dedicated entirely to Necromunda, actually wrote a series of rules. In fact, I'm going to pull this up real quick. So as you can see right here, this actually was created by Crimson Oracle. And as you can see, it is an excellent resource. It's approximately 30 pages long on PDF. It's absolutely free to download. Go check out Crimson Oracle's channel. They actually have a link on there where you could actually go in and actually download this for yourself. As you can see here, they actually have leaders and stats and rules and credits and stuff. So we'll be spending some time talking about some of the different fighters they have available to this list. And then, of course, we'll go over the potential list that you could use to create this particular gang using these unofficial rules created by Crimson Oracle. Okay, so let's do a quick overview real quick of the rules from the Kroot Farstalker Kinbands that's available by Crimson Oracle. So like I said before, Crimson Oracle actually wrote up this rule set for using in games of Dominion campaigns. Now, these are, okay, of course, not official rules at all. They're totally unofficial, but if you're looking for a cool way to actually use Kroot in your games of Necromunda, this could be an actual really awesome way to do so. So as you can see, we basically have our fighters. Let's take a look here real quick. So first of all, we have our Kroot Kill Broker, which will be the leader. In this case, is this dashing fellow with the cloak as well as the pulse rifle in his hand. The leader costs 115 credits. They have 6-inch movement, 2+ weapon skill, 4+ ballistic skill, 4 strength, 3 toughness, 2 wounds, 3 initiative, 2 attacks, 7 leadership, 6 cool, 8 willpower, as well as 8 intelligence. Now, of course, they have this special rule called Meal Time. It says each time this fighter makes a coup de grace action, they gain a feeding token and mark it on their sheet. And in fact, the reason why is because Crimson Oracle actually made a game mechanic that is unique for this gang, where they actually take the genetic material of their victims and actually cause mutations. We'll talk a little bit about that in this video here in a second. At the same time, their skill axes are primary for combat, cunning, and leadership, and their secondaries for agility and ferocity. And as you can see, Crimson Oracle also made a whole list of things that they can actually use for their weapon systems. We have things like Kroot rifles, Kroot scatterguns, which is this weapon this guy's carrying here, which is basically a shotgun, reclaim autoguns, Kroot pistols, Tal pulse weapons as well. We also have the accelerator bow with fused arrow and glide arrows, which is what this character back here in the back is using right there. We have flamers and grenade launchers and hunting rifles, all kinds of really cool stuff. Devorgites, Skinners, and Londaxi tribalists, which is this weapon over here, for example. Missile pods and rail rifles, all kinds of really cool things that are available for these guys as well. We also have cut skin blades, Kin blades, Kroot blades, ritual blades, all kinds of really interesting weapons and equipment that's available to this gang. And in fact, you could actually take a look at the weapons references if you want to and see some of the things that are available to them. Things like Kroot Hawk totems and pectras and what else? Wind marks and all kinds of different things you could do with these guys. So that would be an example of what the leader is actually capable of. Then we have two types of champions. We have the Kroot Cold Blood, which is a champion, costs 105 credits. This fighter's stats are 6-inch movement, 3+ weapon skill, 4+ ballistic skill, 4 strength, 3 toughness, 2 wounds, 3 initiative, 2 attacks, 8 leadership, 7 cool, 8 willpower, 8 intelligence. They also have, once again, the mealtime special rule, and their primary skills are combat, ferocity, and brawn, and their secondary are agility, cunning, and leadership. And then our second champion is called a Kroot Tracker, who costs 110 points. They have movement 6, 4 weapon skill, 2 ballistic skill, 4 strength, 3 toughness, 2 wounds, 4 initiative, 2 attacks, 9 leadership, 6 cool, 9 willpower, as well as 8 intelligence. So those would be the two champion types that are available. So for example, this guy with the Tribalesti, for example, could be one of your Kroot Cold Bloods, while this person with the accelerator bow could be one of your Kroot Trackers, for example. And then, of course, we only have one type of fighter in here for our gangers. We have the Kroot Warrior. They cost 60 credits. They have a movement of 6, 4+ weapon skill, ballistic skill, 4 strength, 3 toughness, 1 wound, 4 initiative, 1 attack, 8 leadership, 7 cool, 8 willpower, 8 intelligence. They have the mealtime special rule as well, and their primary skills are combat and ferocity, and their second are agility as well as cunning as well. And as you can see, they also have a whole list of things that they can also use too, which is kind of cool. And at the same time, we also have a prospect. We have the Kroot Rider. Kroot Talks riders basically ride giant gorilla versions of what a Kroot looks like. These are our prospects at 95 credits. At movement 5, 4 weapon skill plus skill, 5 strength, 4 toughness, 1 wound, 5 initiative, 1 attack. And then 8 across the board for leadership, cool, willpower, as well as intelligence. They also have the promotion to become a Kroot Coldblood or a Kroot Tracker as well. They also have the Born in the Saddle special rule, so they can never leave their Kroot Talks. They have the Mealtime special rule as well as Fast Learner. And their primary skills are as Cunning, while Shooting and Brawn will be their secondary skills. And as you can see, they actually have access to heavy weapons like Kroot Talks Heavy Kroot Repeater, Missile Pods, Rail Rifles, all kinds of different things. So you do have your mounted options available to you as well if you want to go out to the Ash Waste. And of course, we also have some exotic beasts attached to these guys as well. We have our Kroot Hounds, which are these two little guys over here. They cost 90 credits apiece with 5 movement, 4 plus weapon skill, ballistic skill, 5 strength, 4 toughness, 1 wound, 5 initiative, 1 attack, 8 across the board for leadership, cool, willpower, and intelligence. We have honed senses as well as loyal kin special rules, and their primary is ferocity and their secondary is combat. And then of course we do have some Hangerons. Now the Hangerons haven't actually been made yet. We have Kroot Gene Freaks, Kroot Envoys, Kroot Croakers, Kroot Artisans, and Kroot Connoisseurs, which haven't been made yet by Crimson Oracle yet. Probably coming down the road later on. And then we have our Lesser Narlock, which is a larger creature. That's got 5-inch movement, 3 weapon skill, 6 ballistic skill, 6 strength, 5 toughness, 3 wounds, 5 initiative, 3 attacks, 10 leadership, 7 cool, 9 willpower, and 10 intelligence. And of course, they also have special rules attached to them. They have also reloading actions for your weapons because they have those baggage harnesses as well. They got the Mealtime special rule. At the same time, they also have abilities for them to mutate themselves with their fee tokens, actually, which is kind of cool too. And they also have the Fearsome skill as well as Nerves of Steel, and they have Ferocity for their primary and Combat for the secondary. So as you can see, Crimson Oracle did a really good job making all these rules for each of these different fighter types that you have. And of course, we have the adaptations, and what ends up happening is for every single time you get a 6 feeding tokens, you can either a stat increase from your adaptations, or you can actually do things like get protective, which basically costs you some credit to do so, like Lift Frame, for example, increase the fighter's initiative by 1, gives them the dodge skill, but they reduce their strength by 1, for example. Apex Predator, enhanced nervous system, for example. There's all kinds of cool little things you can actually do with these guys, which is really neat as well. And of course, also if you look here on the list as well, the different weapons that we have are also available too. So like the Kroot Rifle, for example, a Kroot Scattergun. We also got pistols and Tau weapons for their different pulse weapons and their different heavy weapons. So it's all kinds of really cool things. Like I said before, if you really want to take a look at these rules, I highly suggest you go check out Crimson Oracle's channel and also listen to the Dome Runners podcast. Because it's an awesome production value on the podcast, very informative and also highly entertaining as well from Necromunda. So now that we're talking about the rules that we're going to be using to create our list, the next thing we're going to do now, of course, is talk about the gang list that you can actually put together for your games of Necromunda. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about what our list would look like using the rules that were created by Crimson Oracle. So this would be our Kroot Farstalker Kinband for Necromunda. I've actually made kind of 2 lists. I made a 2,000 credit list in case you just want to use just this box set just by itself for an Aranthian Succession, for example. And I've also made another one where actually if you use the Aranthian Succession rules but out in the Ash Waste at 2,400 point credits. So because of that, you could just get this one box and you'll be totally set for your games of Necromunda. So let's talk about the list real quick. So assuming that you're staying in the Underhive and you're not going to go using vehicles on the Ash Waste, this is what I would recommend for your list. So take a Kroot Kill Broker. It's going to cost you 315 credits, which is this person right here with the red cape. They're going to be having equipped with mesh armor with a Tau Pulse Rifle for their weapon, as well as a Kin Blade for 30 credits. They're going to have a Kroot Hound, so one of them, and they'll have the Commanding Presence skill for them. After they have a Kroot Coldblood, it's going to cost 265 credits, which would be this guy here with the little Tribalesti. They have an mesh armor as well as a Londoxide Tribalesti for 130 credits, a Kroot Pistol for a backup weapon, as well as Nerves of Steel, because this person's going to be shot at quite a bit, so you might actually have that for your fighters. After that, we're going to have 3 Kroot Trackers for Tree Champions, because remember, in the Aranthian Succession rules, we can double the number of champions that we can actually take for a gang. So our Kroot Tracker number 1 is going to cost 275 credits. This character is going to be armed with mesh armor, as well as an accelerator bow with fused arrows. Sorry, misspelled that one there. As well as glide arrow for 75 credits, a Kroot pistol for backup, and fast shots so they can shoot twice with this weapon. That would be this fighter back over here. Then we have another Kroot Tracker. It's going to cost you 110 credits. This character's going to cost you 245 credits. This fighter's got mesh armor as well as twin Kroot pistols for 30 credits, as well as a Kroot Hound for 90, and the fast shot special skill. So that'll be this guy back over here, which is your duelist, who's got 2 pistols, and this fighter will also have one of these Kroot Hounds being attached to them as well. And then for our very last Kroot Tracker, Kroot Tracker number 3, this fighter's going to cost you 190 credits. They have mesh armor 15 credits, Kroot hunting rifle for 65, as well as fast shot. And that'll be this guy over here kneeling with this sniper rifle looking weapon right over there. Now after that, you guys will have your Kroot Warriors. So you'll have 2 Kroot Warriors, will cost you 105 credits apiece. They both have mesh armor as well as Kroot rifles. So that'll be 2 of these Kroot with just normal hunting rifles for those guys, for example. And they have 2 more Kroot Warriors. They're costing 125 credits apiece. They both have mesh armor as well as Kroot scatter guns, and that'll be represented by this fighter here as well as this fighter right over here. And they cost 125 credits apiece. And that'd be an example of a 2,000 point list that you guys have right off the bat. Now, obviously, if you don't want to take a 2,000 point list, you could, of course, pare this down to 1,000 credits if you want to as well. But you'll have plenty of miniatures to actually grow your gang if you want to, using those same rules by Crimson Oracle. And that'd be one cool thing you want to do for that. Now, obviously, if you want to take these guys out to the Ash Waste, like I have in this list, you would have this whole set right here. And if you decide to do vehicles, I would suggest you go with 2 medium vehicles. Scrum Racer number 1 and Scrum Racer number 2. Both will cost you 200 credits apiece. Both are equipped exactly the same with medium vehicles, tire claws, transport beds, as well as extra armor. You really don't need to put weapons on your vehicles right off the bat because the weapons that these characters are carrying are quite powerful just by themselves, and so I would highly recommend you using that for as well. In fact, in my opinion, find some really cheap like truck toys that have some truck beds to put your miniatures on, like something out of Amazon or something for like 10 bucks, and you'd be ready to go rocking with these guys as well. But either way you look at it, if you decide to do the much larger Ramthing Succession type style campaign, you have all the miniatures you need to make that gang. If you decide to use the same Ramthing Succession rules to go on the Ash Waste, you pretty much have all the miniatures you need. Just buy some really cheap toy cars in order to go on the Ash Waste. Or if you decide to stay in the Underhive for your typical 1,000 point starting list, you have plenty of miniatures to do that, and with more miniatures to help your gang grow over time. And this is exactly how you could use your Kroot and your games of Necromunda. Alright you guys, so there you have it. This is how you could use your Kroot Farstalker Kinband for your games of Necromunda, or for any kind of gaming system that you want to as well. These guys will be dropping soon. Will have their own individual box that you can actually use, that you can purchase in order to use them for whatever gaming system that you like, being Kill Team or Necromunda or whatever you want as well. These guys are very, very cool looking, and the fact that that Crimson Oracle from the Dome Runners podcast actually made rules for these guys makes it even cooler, because now you can actually use these guys in your games Necromunda and actually have a really awesome gang at the same time in order to do that. So there you guys have it. That is our conclusion on the Kroot Farstalker Kinband. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this one, you guys. We will catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.